By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are in Dordrecht, the Netherlands, for the Guardian Beast Cup. This is a brand new tournament and we're going to look at the finals of this event. And in the finals, we've got two very, very strong decks going face to face. We've got Clovis, who's playing with Deadguy Ale on steroids. And he is taking on Boss, and Boss is on a white-blue mid-range deck. So, you know, it's got some control, it's got some Sarah Angels. Of course, it also has a little bit of black, you know, that Black Splash demonic mind twist. It's in there too, but more about that, of course, in the deck tech section of this video. But before I jump into the deck techs, first a message from the sponsor of this video, 3for1 Trading. 3for1 Trading is one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. Their online shop has a fantastic selection of high-end Magic cards, especially for vintage, legacy, and yes, old school Magic players. They now exclusively offer my community free, fully insured and fast worldwide shipping on all their high-end singles, full sets and out-of-print sealed products. They upload new cards every Wednesday and have weekly sale offers and reductions waiting just for you. Use my code TIMMY to get free worldwide shipping on your first order over $500 or euros. Have fun ordering those cards, and thank you 3for1 Trading for sponsoring this video. And we are back and ready to dive into the deck tech section of this video, and I'm going to start with the player on the left, that is Clovis. Let's take a look at his Deadguy Ale on steroids deck. And here we see the deck of Clovis, Deadguy Ale on steroids. And the steroids part refers to the blue power that's in this deck. Because a lot of people, you know, splash, of course, blue power. Why? Because it's so damn good. So here we see Time Walk, Time Twister, and of course Ancestral Recall. But there's also card number 4 here, a blue card number 4, and that is Brain Geyser. Brain Geyser, double blue and X, and you can draw X cards. You can also let your opponent draw X cards, which actually could be relevant because he's also playing with Underworld Dreams. So there could be a situation where you, for example, have 2 dreams out and you want to force your opponent to draw cards. You can use your Brain Geyser to do that, or actually your Ancestral Recall and kill your opponent that way. That would really give you some style points, Clovis, if you can pull that off here in the finals. And then, the rest of the deck, it's pretty obvious. It's what you play in Deadguy Ale, right? We see 4 Swords to Plowshares, 4 Disenchants, and a Balance. That's, of course, that whole white control package. And then, it's dominantly black. Of course, we see Sinkholes. Like I said, Underworld Dreams. We're also seeing some pretty cool creatures in here, 4 Hypnotic Specters. And then my favorite, 4 Juzam Djinns are here as well, ready to serve the master. And then we also have 2 Sengir Vampires. And I guess when we're talking about creatures, we also see 4 Mishra's Factories in here. They're, of course, lands, but also very much creatures. Very good also at finishing the game, especially later in the game where you've kind of went through all your resources. Removal is gone, your creatures are gone, but usually then these factories tend to remain on the battlefield. They can still kind of deal damage and eventually win you the game. What I kind of find interesting here about this deck is a black card, a one-off here in the deck that you actually never ever see in Deadguy Ale, and that you don't see as often as you probably should see, and that is Pestilence. Pestilence, in my opinion, is a very good card. 2 black and 2, pay a black, deal 1 damage to any target, so each creature and each player. So it's really nice when you're ahead. You can slowly ping your opponent down. Really nice in combination with Underworld Dreams. It's also really nice if you're playing against a deck that has a swarm strategy like Mono Green. You can kind of mow all those creatures down. And of course, it's also just quite nice if you just need to kill your opponent. If you're very close to a kill, you can finish it off with this. It also works together quite nicely with Drain Life. He's only playing 1 Drain Life main though, so it's not a main strategy of him, but it could be, there could be decks that are going to combine Drain Life and Pestilence together. It's pretty cool. Drain Life, of course, is sorcery for 1 black and 1, and for each black you pay, you can deal 1 damage to any target, and for each damage dealt this way, you also gain a life, and of course, you can also target your opponent. So you can gain life with the Drain Life, and then you can pay that life again to use your Pestilence, and there are some synergies here, and I really like it because you don't see Pestilence that much, and I really think it's a very good card. Another thing I like here is a sideboard plan of Clovis that I'm seeing here, which we see 2 moats and we see 3 Sarah Angels. So one of the things he can do here is after the first game, and let's say your opponent's playing a lot of non-flying creatures, like you're playing against robots, for example, a deck that doesn't have a lot of flyers, you can take out your Juzam Djinns, replace it with the Sarah Angel, and then put moats in as well. That'll put Clovis in a very good position because all his other creatures already have flying, so they don't care about the moat. So that's a nice little strategy that he could apply after the first game. Although I think in this match, it could actually be relevant. Talking about that, let's take a look at the deck of his opponent, and that is Boss, and he's playing UW midrange. And here we see the deck of Boss. So I've called it UW midrange or blue-white midrange. Sometimes these decks are also referred to as a triple S deck because you're playing with Savannah Lions, Sarah Angels, and Suchis. All these creatures start with an S. And when I'm looking at the creature base, by the way, I think those modes of Clovis in the sideboard could come in handy actually in this matchup, because look at it. He's playing with 4 Savannah Lions, 3 Suchis, and 2 Sarah Angels. So only the Sarah Angels fly. And then, of course, he's got the Mishra's Factories in here as well. Beautiful winter edition of the Mishra's Factories, by the way. Boss, I really like that, especially when you're playing with white cards yourself. I really like that combination. But yeah, like I said, mode could be a really good card. Then again, he is, of course, playing with 4 Disenchants as well. So we see that white control package in here, by the way, right? Just like we saw at Clovis, his deck also, we see 4 Disenchants, 4 Swords, a balance. And then on top of that, he's also playing with a Divine Offering and a Wrath of God. Divine Offering, a card from Legends, 1 white and 1, a card that you see more and more these days. An instant destroys target artifact and you gain life equal to the casting cost of that artifact. And the reason that this card is so popular is there are 2 reasons. First of all, you just see a lot of artifacts, so it makes sense to play with this. Second of all, a lot of players, especially in the Swedish format, of course, play with Suchi because there's no mana burn. So this is a really good answer to a Suchi because 2 mana, instant speed, you get rid of that 4/4 and you gain 4 life. It's just, there's so much value. Another reason, by the way, a third reason is the life gain itself, because we see a lot more 12 bolt decks in the format, Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and Psionic Blast. So if you then just have a little bit of life gain, that can usually just push you, gives you that 1 extra turn that you need to stabilize, you know, and take over the game and probably win it. So that's also why Divine Offering is becoming more popular. Now that other one of the Wrath of God is also quite interesting. 2 white and 2, in my opinion, still underplayed. Used to be kind of a staple, you know, back in the day when I was playing in the revised era, you know, I'm talking 1995, that's when I started playing. And I know you're going to say, yeah, but revised was sold in 1994. You're right, but in my area, in 95, those were the only Magic cards I could get at first. Later, we've got Fallen Empires, and then even later, we got 4th edition. But it really started with Revised. And when I just played basically Revised only without knowing it that I was, you saw Wrath of God a lot. It was such a wanted card. It was so good. Wrath of God, it just destroys all the creatures in play, right? They cannot be regenerated. So it's really good for later in the game. It can give you a lot of value. These are like cards that I like to refer to as 2-for-1 cards, because they can often, you know, you play 1 card and you often get at least 2 cards out of it, destroying 2 cards at the side of your opponent, sometimes even more. I really like Wrath of God, by the way, in combination with the Mace. We don't see the Mace in this deck, but, you know, I think it's good in this matchup also because Wrath of God cannot be countered by Clovis. Why? Because he's not playing with any counter magic. So that makes, in my opinion, Wrath of God better, you know, when you don't have to worry about counter magic. But yeah, it's looking like a very strong deck. Talking about counter magic, by the way, Boss is playing with counter magic, 4 counter spells and a mana drain. So he's very counter heavy, also playing with, you know, the blue power, obviously, and he's playing with a copy artifact, a single copy artifact in his main 60. I think copy artifact, I'm sure, Boss, when you were building the deck, you were trying to find more space for copy artifact, because man, that card is so good. 1 blue and 1, you can just copy any artifact in play. The nice thing is you can, of course, use it to copy your own stuff, but because artifacts are so popular in old school, you will always find a target for it. So it usually pays off, even if you're not heavy into artifacts yourself, to play with at least 1 if you're playing with blue anyway. And I would be tempted to actually throw in an extra copy artifact here in this list. It's, of course, hard again to make space. And one more thing, why the copy is so good, you can also copy your Mishra's Factory, and that will ramp you up in lands, but also will ramp you up in the creature. I mean, it's just really cool, you know, to copy a factory. You gotta be sure that you time it right, though, because if your opponent disenchants your factory in response to your copy and there's no other target on the battlefield, it'll just stay there being nothing, just being a copy artifact. It stays on the battlefield. It's not discarded or anything, but that happens. So you gotta time it right. Anyway, this is the deck of Boss. We looked at the deck of Clovis. And I guess there's one card, by the way, in Boss's deck that I'd like to just quickly talk about. And this is sitting in a bottle in the sideboard. I think one of the things that could happen here is that Boss boards in the city in a bottle after seeing a Juice and Gin, and that maybe Clovis is going to board out the Juice and Gins and put in the Sarah Angels and the Moats. That could happen. So that's something that I'm going to look out for in game 2. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's first check out game 1. Let's go to the finals of the Guardian Beast Cup. Enjoy. Game number 1 here is about to begin of the finals of the Guardian Beast Cup. So a brand new old school Magic tournament held in Dordrecht. We see both players here, by the way, taking a mulligan. And the boss is kicking it off here with an underground seed, passing the turn to Clovis. Clovis is playing a Deadguy Ale deck, so dominantly white and black, but also playing a blue splash for the power. And boss is on a white-blue mid-range deck. And splashing black, by the way, for Demonic Tutor and Mind Twist. And boss passing his second turn here to Clovis. There we see a Swamp for Clovis, also a Mox Pearl. Gonna tap 2 here. There's a Sinkhole, so 2 black. There's a Mana Drain, so draining away the Sinkhole. That means 2 extra mana for boss. And looking at his list, he's playing with Jam Day Tomes, also playing with Sarah Angels, Suchi. So those could be cards that maybe he can deploy early because of these gained mana. But we'll see. We'll see what he can do. Tapping the Emerald here. Untapping again. Probably reminding himself of the extra mana he has from the Mana Drain. So chooses to use one of those mana for the Soul Ring. Now remember, we are playing according to the Swedish old school rules, meaning there's no mana burn. Also no Fallen Empire. Also just 1 Strip Mine here. So just a few things to keep in mind. 3 cards in hand here for boss. Tap the C. Okay, there's a Demonic Tutor. Of course, had that other mana still floating from the Mana Drain. I wonder what he's going to tutor for. Probably just Ancestral Recall. Maybe he's also thinking about a Draw 7 or a Mind Twist. Oh, thinking about a Tome here. So maybe he's going to go for some long-term gain with the Gem Day Tome. Splitting it back though, I think we're just going to see Ancestral Recall. Another line, of course, could be, to go for Mind Twist. And the nice thing for boss here in this matchup is that he doesn't have to worry about counter magic because Clovis is not playing with any counter spells. So could also consider going for Mind Twist. Then again, maybe Clovis is just going to, dump his entire hand and then your Mind Twist is pretty useless. But we'll see. Yeah, it's going to go here from Mind Twist, of course. Didn't play out a land yet. I didn't realize that he didn't play out a land. And that's, of course, ideal because then he can take the entire hand here of Clovis. So Clovis is cardless. Has to live from the top deck, which is not ideal. And I just picked up his card from the top. Seems to be a little bit in the tank. Yeah, very bad news here for the player on the left. That Mind Twist is just devastating. The question is, can boss now put some pressure on the board, for example, a Savannah Lions? I guess he cannot, though. Only 1 card in hand for boss, which is a Swords to Plowshares. Here we see a Mishra's Factory being picked up from the top. Clovis probably asking about cards in hand. So maybe, yes, Clovis lost his entire hand, but I mean, if boss cannot put any pressure on the board, he can just slowly gain cards and rebuild. Oh, this helps. There we see a Demonic. So Clovis deciding to take a risk, right? Could be worried about counter magic, but decided, you know what? I've got to go for it here. Boss only has 1 card in hand. Mana Drain, of course, already out of the deck. So he's going to look up here. A Balance. Oh, a Balance. Okay. Interesting. Takes away, of course, a lot of lands here from boss. And also do remember, by the way, Clovis doesn't have any blue, so Ancestral Recall would have been kind of useless. Going to go for Balance instead, forcing boss to discard the last card in hand. So both players playing now on a level playing field. There's the attack with the 2/2. 17 for boss and a pass. Boss drawing a second card pass. I believe it was a counter spell there from the top. Attacking again for 2. So Clovis is now in the driver's seat. Oh, Ancestral Recall. There's a counter spell though. Oh, that was a good counterspell by boss. I think if that Ancestral Recall resolved, he would have been in some serious trouble. Talking about trouble, boss here playing a Sarah Angel. Clovis is now in trouble. We're really top decking here. There's the pass. And this is what I love about Sarah Angel. The Vigilance. Doesn't have to tap. It's so good. You can keep it as a blocker for the factory. And Clovis here, of course, dropping to 16, taking on his turn. Let's see what he can find. Okay, there's a Pestilence. Doesn't have enough black mana, though, to kill it. He has 3 black mana, so he can deal 3 damage to the Serra Angel. That's not enough, though. Pass back here to Boss. There we see a factory. There's the attack for 4. Clovis dropping here to 12. And Boss passing the turn. Can Clovis find another swamp? Oh, there's another swamp! This is ideal for Clovis. He's going to pay 4. And he's going to kill the Serra Angel here. Pestilence in action. That is pretty sweet. But now the Pestilence is destroyed. Unless, of course, he makes it into a creature. Okay, fair enough. That means the Pestilence remains on the battlefield. There's a Swords to Plowshares, though. So 2 life gained for Clovis. And the card, of course, is removed from the game. Also means that the Pestilence is destroyed. So this was a good move by Boss. Clovis now on 10. And Boss, I believe, is on 10 as well. There's the attack. Clovis dropping here to 8. There's a Mox and a pass. So pretty back and forth game here. This is a pretty cool first game. Oh, look at this Juzam Jin. 5/5 powerhouse on the board. Yeah, this is tough here for Boss. All of a sudden, he's now the player who's in trouble. Having to face this 5/5 powerhouse. He is on 10. He's got a Mox Pearl in hand and a blue card there. Not quite sure which one. He's in the tank, really thinking. I mean, maybe it's a time twister. Maybe it's a draw 7, right? He's thinking, am I going to go for draw 7? He's going to drop the Pearl. No. I mean, if it's a draw 7, you would definitely drop the Pearl, right? He's going to animate instead. And he's going to copy it. Okay. So it was a copy artifact and not a time twister. And this is actually quite nice because it means that he can double block next turn or take the damage and double block the turn after. Because then he can make his copied factory also a 3/3 and then he can block on 2 3/3s. We're not there yet though. Clovis taking another card from the top, attacking here. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I wonder what Boss is going to do. I mean, the thing is, if you're going to double block and Clovis has like a Disenchant or a Swords, you're going to lose both of your factories. I mean, if you're going to double block now, you're going to lose both anyway because your copy artifact cannot pump itself yet. Exactly, taking the damage first. I think that makes sense. And then next turn, you got to do the double block probably. He's on 5, of course. There we see the Mox Pearl in the pass. Another damage for Clovis. Clovis on 6. I mean, they're very close. 6 versus 5. There's the attack. Going to animate both. Going to go for the double block. Going to pump them, so there are 2 3/3s. Here's the response, though. Oh, counterspell! Yeah, this counterspell was so important by Boss. This really saves the day for him. Probably gives him the first game here. This counterspell was vital for Boss. What a moment in the game. And there we see... Oh, a time walk here. Okay, that went very fast. There's some glare on the left side, unfortunately, but that was a time walk. Let's see what Clovis can find. Oh, he was so close to the victory. If the Disenchant would have resolved with the Time Walk, he would have won the game here. But that's not the case now. And look at that, Clovis passing the turn back to Boss. And now Boss can, of course, start attacking. There's the Disenchant. Yeah, the thing is with Copy Artifact, it also stays an enchantment. So you can always play the Disenchant on it, even if the Mishra's factory is not animated into a creature. Here we see... a Gem Tome, by the way. We also see a Sengir Vampire by Clovis. Ooh, that Sengir is a problem. And now the question is, are you going to draw an extra card? And Boss decides not to. Because then he would have had to use his City of Brass and he would have gone to 4. Which is, of course, then lethal with the Sengir attack. Going to draw an extra card. There's the pass. I believe a Disenchant in hand. Oh, it's going to drop to 1. 1 measly life for Boss here in game number 1. 6 life for Clovis. And what an exciting first game this is. Lots of stuff happening here. It's going to draw another card. Looking for answers. Cannot find it. So game number 1 here going to Clovis. And I really hope, gentlemen, that game 2 is going to be as much fun and as thrilling as this first game was. This was fantastic. And now both players are going to dive into their sideboards. And we will catch back up with them in game number 2. Game number 2, here we go. So Boss on the play, the player on the right, Clovis on the draw, and I believe he's taking a mulligan here, Clovis. So let's take a look. Is he going to keep this 7? If so, he's got to put 1 card on the bottom. 2 cards. Okay, he's taking a double. No, he's doing it the other way around. Okay, fair enough. For a moment there, I thought, wow, how many mulligans is this guy taking? But I believe it's only 1. But we'll see. Gonna go through the cards in hand again. So it's a big thing, of course. You're in the finals. You played Magic the entire day. You don't want to make a mistake here in your final match. So Clovis here putting 1 card on the bottom, keeping 6. Bas kept his full 7, starting with an Underground Sea, passing the turn back to Clovis. There we see a duel and a pearl and a pass. And there's Bas tapping the plains there in the Underground Sea for black for a demonic tutor. So he's going to tutor. We saw a Mind Twist for Bas, of course, in game 1. Despite the successful twist, he didn't win that one. And I wonder if he's just going to go for the Ancestral Recall now, also because he doesn't have a lot of mana to make a really big Mind Twist. So I'm really expecting to see an Ancestral Recall here. And Clovis, by the way, taking on his turn, starting here with a Black Lotus. And there we see an Hypnotic Spectre on the board. So the 2/2 flyer, when it deals damage, the opponent has to discard a card at random. So you really don't want that to happen. We do see a Swords to Plowshares here in hand for Bas, so he's got the answer. He's going to go for a Swords. 2 more life here then for Clovis. And of course, the Hippie is removed from the game. And there we see a Mishra's Factory and a pass. There we see also a Factory for Clovis, and I guess on end step here, he's firing off the Ancestral Recall. Going to draw 3 extra cards. Untap, upkeep, draw a card for turn. So lots of cards there in hand here for Bas. Going to deploy another Factory, I guess, or not. First checking out his entire hand, makes sense. Going to go for Soul Ring. There we see that Factory. Going to tap a white for a Savannah Lines, playing with a full playset of Savannah Lines in the deck, also a full playset of Mishra's Factories. 3 Suchis, I believe, and 2 Sarah Angel's main. Is playing with an extra Suchi in the side. Let's see what Clovis can do here. He's going to tap 3, going to take a damage, you drop to 21. Okay, there's an Underworld Dreams, the enchantment from Legends. And then you take a damage for every card you draw. We do see a counter spell in hand for Bas, but he doesn't have double blue to counter it. So he's going to draw a card here, take a damage. Exactly, drops to 19. There we see another Underground Sea, so now he's got Counter Magic enabled at least. Asking about the cards in hand for Clovis. Is that a Mind Twist? That is a Mind Twist. So he's going to twist the hand again here. Clovis, you losing a Disenchant, and was that... Not quite sure what that other card was. Looked like an artifact, not sure what it was. He's got 1 Mishra's Factory, so could attack here with his own factory. Also has Disenchant in hand there. Decides to pass, though. Perhaps he wants to disenchant the Underworld Dreams. I mean, could have attacked, for example, with Factory and Line. And the moment that Clovis is going to animate the Factory, you can disenchant it. He's going to sack the Lotus. Or we're going to see Brain Geyser. Nope, we're going to see a Sengir Vampire. Then we're going to see a Disenchanter. Exactly. So wanted to keep the Disenchant for the Underworld Dreams. There's a Time Walk there. Yeah, this is tough for Bas. Also has a Brain Geyser in hand. The thing is, if you Brain Geyser, you cannot have Counter Magic open. But I mean, do you really want to fire off your Time Walk now? Yeah, he's going to go for Brain Geyser here, it seems. Keeping a white open. If he draws into a Swords to Plowshares, he can get rid of the... Sengir Vampire ASAP. No, he's going to tap the plains as well. I don't believe he's played out a land yet, so hoping maybe to find a white source and a Swords to Plowshares there. We do see a Mox Jet. Okay, there's a Tundra, so that's going to be the white mana. Now, does he have a Swords to Plowshares? That's a question. Did find another Savannah Alliance, also another Disenchant, it seems. Yeah, now he can, of course, play out the Time Walk, of course. Finding that blue source, so he's going to go for the Time Walk. This is perfect for Bas. Untap, upkeep, and draw. Yeah, this Time Walk is really nice after such a big Brain Geyser. But doesn't seem to have an answer for the Sengir Vampire yet, at least. Does have a Suchi in hand. It's going to tap 4. We're going to see the Suchi. There's the Suchi, 4/4. Card from Antiquities. When it dies, you gain 4 mana. And because Swedish is a format without mana burn, It doesn't have a drawback here. There we see another Savannah Lions, another 2-1. Savannah Lions, the most played vanilla creature in the game. I guess the other vanilla creature that sees some play is the Earth Elemental, the 4-5. There's the attack with the 4-4. And Boss here taking some damage. Oh, and there we see a Time Twister, but we see a counterspell here. Yeah, this counterspell is very important for Boss. But he still needs to find an answer to the Sengir. Or, you know, he's still on 15. Could also try to just win the race. And I guess that's what he's going to do here. Look at that, animating and attacking with everything. Putting it all into the red zone. 2 Savannah Lions, 2 Mishra's Factories, and a Suchi. It's going to animate, disenchant, of course, here in response. And you could see Clovis, he was kind of expecting it already, but still wanted to give it a try. Yeah, this is a big hit for Clovis. Clovis now on 8. He's in trouble. That balance is not going to do much here for Bus. Also has another Savannah Lion in hand. Could deploy that. Yeah, I mean, why not? Just go for it. Clovis is in top decking mode, so it's looking very good here for Bus. Will it be a 1-1? That is the big question here. I guess it is. Clovis saying, you got the game. Doesn't want to give Boss any more information than that. So that means it's 1-1, and we're going to go to an all-deciding game number 3, and I'm looking forward to it. Game number 3, here we go. So 1-1, we're going to have our big decider here. Who's going to be the champion of the first edition of the Guardian Beast Cup? Is it going to be Boss, the player on the right, who's taking a mulligan now, by the way? Or will it be Clovis, the player on the left? And Clovis, of course, on the play here after losing that second game. So that gives him a slight edge. Although I think with these decks, it doesn't matter that much. Although, oh, look at the opening here by Clovis. This is what you want to do. Last game of the tournament, resolving an Ancestral Recall. Really good here for Clovis. Let's see what Boss can do in his first turn. Going to go for basic planes into Savannah Lions. Playing with 4 of the Lions in his deck. The 2-1 vanilla creature. And passing the turn here back to Clovis. Let's see what he can do in his second turn. Asking about cards in hand. Ooh, that's never a good sign. There we see a Black Lotus. Putting that card there. Is he going to play it out? Is it going to be a Mind Twist? I mean, after you ask about how many cards a player has in hand, that's always a dangerous moment. I never like that question when I'm at an old school tournament. Like, please don't ask me that question. Ooh, there we see a Juzam Jin. So going to go for Juzam Jin. Style points here for Clovis. Second to Lotus for Juzam, missing his own land drop. But hey, there's the 5-5 powerhouse. And now we see a City of Brass here by Boss. There's a pass. Perfect news for Clovis. He can now start attacking with the 5-5. There we see a duel. There's the attack. So I guess he's found a land there from the top. Is Boss going to chump already? I guess you just want to go to 15, right? Yeah, has a counterspell mana drain there in hand, but cannot use them. Doesn't have double blue. There's the pass. I mean, Boss needs to find an answer here. There's another line. At least a chum block can buy you some time. Still on 15, of course. But it can go really fast if you're trying to battle a Juzam Jin. There's the attack with the lion. Going to put Clovis here on 17. There's the other lion. Missing the land drop. Oh, that is so painful for Boss here. The deciding game and then not finding the lands you need. Ay, 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 ay. Boss in trouble. There's the attack. Going to drop to 10. Also, Clovis not really finding the lands, but who cares when you've got your Juzam on your side? Passing the turn. Yeah, why not? He's in a very good position here. Okay, finally finding a land. So at least he's got counter magic active now with this Tundra. But the problem is he's got no swords. No answer yet here for the Juzam. I mean, I guess you want to attack for 4, take 5, and hope for the best next turn. Okay, just going to attack with 1. Going to pass turn here. So Clovis dropping to 14, taking another damage, I guess, from his own Juzam, dropping to 13. Going to draw for turn. Let's see what he can do. Now, do remember, Boss has 2 blue open to counter. It's got a counterspell, I believe, and a mana drain in hand. So if he mana drains something, he can start playing the Suchi. There we see a Swords to Plowshares on the Savannah line. I guess the untapped one could decide to counter this with the mana drain and then have that extra mana for the Suchi. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do here. So he's going to drop to 9. But it does mean that now he can no longer counter, for example, a Time Walk. So it's a risky play, but I think it's the good play to make here. There's the attack. He is going to chump. It surprises me a little. Maybe he's afraid of a Psionic Blast, which is not in the deck of Clovis, but that could be the reason. I think I would have taken the 5 here. Now remember, he's got that mana floating, so could use the mana floating from the drain plus the mana he's got to play the Suchi, hope for the best, and then double block. I mean, it's a risky plan, but at least it's a plan. And you're going to stay alive and hopefully going to be able to kill the Juzam Jin. So he's going to drop to 8 here. Yeah, looking at the board, passing the turn. Oh, there's a disenchant. Yeah, that's a problem. That's the thing with Suchi. It's so easy to get rid of the Suchi because it's a creature and it's an artifact. So 12 life for Clovis. Here we see the chump. There's another land here. And a sinkhole. Oh, man. That is painful for Boss's sinkhole. There's an island. Yeah, too little, too late. Gonna tap 2. Ooh, Divine Offering. No, that's not gonna help. Divine Offering does nothing. Maybe, does he have a balance? Balance will be brilliant here. There's a balance. Okay. Balance getting at least rid of the Juzam. And also Clovis is going to lose a land here. This is a very good balance for Boss. This is really what he needed to stay alive. Second main, I guess. He's going to play the island. Yeah, and Clovis also had to discard a card. So this was a brilliant balance here for Boss. There's the Hypnotic Spectre. Yeah, problem for Boss is that he cannot really use his counter magic the way he wants to. And now he's got to face a Hypnotic Spectre that he couldn't counter because he didn't have the mana. And now he's going to play a Suchi. Clovis on 12, so can still take a couple of hits here. There's the Hypnotic Spectre going to drop to 6 and lose a card. Boss only having 2 cards left. Going to lose the right one, which is a counterspell. Yeah, Hypnotic Spectres are just great to get rid of counter magic of the opponent here. And there we see another hippie. There's the attack. Clovis dropping to 8. And there's a Mind Twist. Yeah, not going to do much though. I mean, of course it does a lot. But the problem here for Boss are the 2 Hypnotic Spectres on the battlefield. And look at that. It's going to take care of a Swords on the side of Clovis. But Clovis probably didn't want to play that one out anyway because he's winning the race here. It's going to attack for 4. Going to put Boss on 2. Yeah, Boss has to hope for that Wrath of God. He's playing with a single Wrath of God in the main 60. Are we going to see Wrath of God? No, we're not going to see Wrath of God. What was that last card? Oh, Loa, Library of Alexandria. Also a Loa in hand for Clovis. That's funny. But yeah, that means that we have our winner, Clovis, here. Congratulations. You've won the Guardian Beast Cup, the first edition held in Dordrecht, the Netherlands. So here we see the winning deck. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please leave a like, comment on it in the comment section below. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're not a member yet. All these things are free and really help the channel move forward. Talking about moving forward, you can also become a patron of the show. Check out patreon.com/TimmyTalks for all the information.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey.
Fingitus, fingitus, sumba, kazee.